I think it's you're addicted to your high of the buzz of experience of special me and trying to figure out and strategize, plan and think how to get more of that. So you haven't come to the end of your search where there's nowhere to go with this. I'm tired of it. It's over. I know the sacred is my true self. I will give regard and attention because I want to, because I love that, love what's true, and I will do that now. And anything that calls me away from that, this drug of getting high off my own buzz of experience, I'm done with it. You haven't gotten there yet. So emotionally, you're just done with it. You're just, I'm sick of it. I can't do it anymore. It's like at the end of a bad relationship. You're just like, I'm done with this. Doesn't matter what the reasons are anymore. You're just done, and you walk away. And then you're now in the true relationship. And in that true relationship, it reveals the most profound truth to you. But you haven't walked away yet. You still want a little bit of seeking this and doing that and getting a buzz here, getting a buzz there. So you don't really have time to fall in love with the sacred. So that's why you always feel dry and sad or mad or confused, or you just don't have the time to fall in love with the sacred. If you have nothing, absolutely nothing, no food, no warmth, no bodily comfort whatsoever, the first thing that you get that gives you any bodily comfort will seem like the most heavenly gift. It will seem better than the pretty dress you got last week, or the nice earrings, or the good trip you took. It will just seem so better than all that. Why?
Such a need.
It's such a need, yeah. So the need for enlightenment has to be there. You want it. You need it. You know you have a right to it, and you're willing to do and be and live in a disposition to have that, to have it come to you, to be revealed to you. I've been revealing it and living it in my life for years, but it doesn't seem to affect your lives at all. You just go about. Who is completely confident that if I spent all day with you, just living in your life, doing what you do all day, just being quiet and not saying anything, and you don't have to notice me, I just get to go through your day, that I would see someone who loves the sacred, that someone was free from seeking all this attention and pleasure out of experience and fulfillment, someone who wasn't strategizing the next thing, wasn't giving people perceptions that are just a bunch of horseshit. Weren't giving yourself a bunch of horseshit perceptions. We're just open. What would I see if I spent the day with you, just watching you in your life? Well, you got to see me in my life for years and years. But what it would be like to see you in your life. If you pick the wrong person to fall in love with, it doesn't matter what you do. That's nice, bad, or awful, does it? No. Why? It's just not going to work out.
No.
And that's what you haven't found out yet. It's just not going to work out. Just isn't. And why should that make you sad when you can want enlightenment? You have a right to enlightenment. You can live your life for enlightenment. So why should this is not going to work out make you sad?
It should be the opposite.
It should be the opposite. Of all the people in the world, everyone in the world has a right to enlightenment, but a lot of people don't want it or don't know about it. So
it's a gem to add to your practice.
Yeah.
Going toward your practice.
You have everything you need and could possibly want to realize, and yet what? You're just gonna piddle away in the little drug and buzz of experience and just be mad and disappointed that it's not going anywhere and you're just getting old and what? What are you gonna do? You're acting like, I can be at home upset and sad. Like, how can you? The great avatar is in your life. Haridara, you know, his body's not here, but he's here. Is that teaching, transmission, presence, love, company. He left me here to be with you in that same spirit, same realization. So what? So how can you sit around? It's like someone who has the worst love in the world and this guy beats you up every day and starves you and rapes you. You don't have that. You have like the greatest opposite of that could possibly exist.
Yeah.
So how can you go around and be sad and dopey? What is it? What is it that allows you to be sad and dopey?
No, not
It's a sense of
recognizing
entitlement.
contraction and then releasing it.
Yeah.
Entitlement to what?
To fulfillment. Something is going to
Well,
fulfill
that's
you.
where the fulfillment is.
Yeah.
Where do you want the fulfillment to be?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's just like addiction and pleasure, just like what you're saying, like heroin addict, you know. Really, I mean,
Like a heroin addict, so busy getting that buzz every day, even though it never feels that great like it did in the beginning. Their whole life's consumed with how to get it. They become criminals to get it. And they could have the nicest husband in the whole world. They could have a beautiful child. And they'll
Yeah.
turn their back on all of it. So,
see more
what's your
often.
problem? See? See, after you have the basic tools of survival, everything else doesn't make you that much happier. You take away the basic capacity to survive, and then anything you get seems so wonderful. So adding more and more, like name, fortune, recognition, talent, beauty, more money, doesn't deepen any of it. Once you have what you need, and then you can count on it, you get sloppy. Right? You're not grateful and humble, you get sloppy.
Get wasteful.
You get wasteful and entitled to more pleasure and continuous pleasure. Yeah, you get really greedy. Yeah. And yet you already know that more is not the answer. It doesn't do anything.
No.
So that makes you want more.
I don't know why. I don't understand that logic, but
Great.
you all seem to understand that logic, but I'm not quite following that one. Yeah, it's not working, but yeah, more is.
Must be less.
Must be less. There's nothing hard about this, but you're just addicted to the drug of.
Seeking the buzz.
Yeah. You want to be special. It's really important to you. I want to be special. I really want to be special. You don't get it? I want to be special. I want it. I want it. I want it. I'm so bad and I'm not getting it. And I'm almost 60 and you don't know what this feels like to get here and not have it. I want it. Pat gets that, right? Because Pat has felt so intensely enraged by that.
Yeah.
As if it exists too.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
you know, because all that rage and assumption
Doesn't.
is assuming it exists.
Yeah. Right, yeah, must
Yeah,
be.
you have to.
That's crazy.
Look around.
Yeah.
Check it out. Does anybody else got that here? Think of whoever you think has it. As soon as you see a reality version of their life, you know, even if it's scripted, you go,
What?
"Hey, yeah." And they're scripted to hide the worst stuff, you know.
Maybe special ed.
What's that?
Special education.
So isn't that what you're still hanging out for? Who still wants to be special?
I have to.
Try.
So it's not your fault
Yeah.
that you weren't able to pull it off. Because it's not real. You can let go of it. It's not your fault that you didn't pull it off. It's just not real. So why keep working on something that's not real?
Illogical.
Insane.
Well, it's just that you wanted it for so long
Yeah.
that you got so much emotions attached to that
Yeah,
this
right.
thing is good and it's got to be real.
Yeah.
What happens when you find out Santa Claus doesn't exist? You move on.
Mhm.
Just a second of confusion and like
shit, well, why'd all that happen? And kind of like
Well,
that.
see, this drive in people's unconscious,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and it's interfering with your love of the sacred and the divine, the realization of that as your true heart. It's interfering with it. Because you think it's such powerful need. You have to get this
Yeah.
done, and then you can really love God and do the
That's right.
practice.
Really?
Right.
Yes.
God knows what I'm talking about right
Yeah.
now.
It's drives.
But you never question, is it really real? Is it obtainable? Is it true in any way? Look at famous people and say they must have it.
It's just like,
So you're still emotionally committed to that you're gonna pull it off.
Yeah.
That you can pull it off, and your sadness you think comes from not having succeeded yet. So in the past, remember when you're younger, you want that girlfriend, you want that guy, and it doesn't work out. He doesn't notice you, and you're like, and then you go in your room, and you're depressed for like 3 weeks, and you can't have like a decent conversation with anybody.
What's wrong with me?
Yeah, what's wrong with you? And everybody's trying to say, how you doing, Jer? How you doing, Barbara? And you're like,
What's wrong with me?
you're around mopey
Yeah,
dopey.
always
Yeah.
the
I
focus.
didn't get A+ in my exams. You're all mopey dopey for like 3 weeks. You didn't get the raise. You're mopey dopey in your bad mood.
Playing Pink Floyd.
Remember all that?
obviously.
Yeah.
Well, you still are in a bad mood.
Yeah.
You know?
We don't need no education.
What's going on in that corner? Is a rebellion going on over there?
No, you just a joke about playing Pink Floyd the wall.
Remember being moody about
Yeah.
and disappointed and sad and mad you didn't get what you wanted?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're still all doing that, but
Yeah,
you don't
and-
see it as that anymore.
Yeah,
Why
no.
is that?
Well, we don't see
Tricky.
it as that anymore.
Yeah.
It's been the pattern for so long.
No,
it just
that
becomes
it's
used to it.
That's just
yeah,
life.
built it in.
It's just life now.
yeah,
It's life.
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
You remember being with, say, one of your a husband, and he's in a bad mood because he didn't get the new piano or whatever reason, and that you have to suffer his moodiness, and because he wasn't successful at something for days, and you're like, oh God, I wish he'd get out of this funk.
Mm-hmm.
And then something distracts him, and he apparently seems to be going towards something he wants, and he thinks he's gonna get it, and he gets in a good mood, and now you think, oh, it's over, good, it's livable again. Well, you're doing that to everybody yourselves,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
but you don't see it.
Yeah.
You think you're just hiding it.
Thinking-
You're doing a
It's
practice,
smooth
or you're
surface,
or
you
you're
know,
being
like-
a responsible adult now, or
Yeah.
you grown up, or something. You have a layer of social plausibility covering that you're just in a bad mood because you're not getting what you want.
Yeah.
So you're so busy with all these difficult emotions and conflicts and sadness and aggressive need for something and passive complaints about something that you don't know that you're polluting everyone
Yes.
around you and everyone that cares about you and the whole environment with all that cloud of crap.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what seeking is.
Yeah.
That cloud of crap. And it's not real. No one ever gets fulfilled.
Right.
What do people get in experience?
Frustrated.
Survival.
Temporary satisfaction, that's it.
Yeah.
Old.
Oh.
That's all you're guaranteed is getting older. That's the only guarantee you got.
Yeah.
You get older.
If you're lucky.
No, you'll still get older
Yeah.
if you're 26.
Doesn't matter.
You'll
Oh,
get another
yeah.
day older.
I meant
All you
I meant
ever
older,
get
older.
is older.
Okay.
You never get anything.
That's the only guarantee.
That's what.
Women who say, I am fulfilled by having my kids, they leave.
Right.
They have their own families.
Right.
Yeah, everything has a time.
You
frame.
cannot control them. You cannot own them. You cannot possess them. You cannot say, you owe me happiness now. Because I did this all for you. You didn't feel that way about your parents, and they're not going to feel that way about you, and they haven't. So what is it? It's all fantasy. All you are doing is getting older. That's all you're doing. But
it's weird not to just.
If you really want to be special, go out and do something really special. Give it all you got. But most people will just
Yeah.
manipulate people's perceptions and lie about themselves and tell people this. And if somebody sees where you're at, they, tell a lot of crummy perceptions about that person so you won't side with that person. People involved in a psychological drama constantly. But who is going to go out there and try to do and work at something special? You?
I didn't.
No, you didn't. But you still feel entitled to what?
Recognition for something
Yes.
and I never did for nothing.
Yeah.
Entitled.
Well, parents feel entitled to what? From their kids.
Get cared for and loved.
Yeah.
Wash
It
it.
doesn't matter what you did with those kids.
Yeah.
You still feel entitled to what?
Have them
Oh,
turn around and care
obedience
for
and
you and
loyalty.
love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being taken into account.
Yeah.
Till you're gone.
But all you ever get is older. That's all you ever get. Unless you fall in love with true self. And you live a life, a response to that love. But you're not. You're just looking and going, I'm not getting more special. Things are going good. All right, there's all that enlightenment stuff over there. I know all about that. And there's Santosha. Okay, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not getting more special. I'm not getting more special. Well, see, we live in a very pleasurable culture. But that's just because we're desperate. We're more desperate. We're not really seeking happiness and pleasure. We're just using it to distract ourselves that we're not getting the real entitled fulfillment and recognition we really deserve.
Yeah.
And yet, nobody really does anything much. I mean, like you said, what did I do? What did you do? What did you do? What did you do? We really can't come up with why anybody in this room is so special that they need to be recognized for some really special thing they did.
Not at all.
Doesn't exist.
So, some people have done remarkable feats, but nobody in this room, so what are you so bent out of shape about?
Yeah.
See, if all your life you're trying to be special, and all your motivations, and all your feelings, and all your experience, and all your thinking is going to achieve that, your ego's not going to be undone. Self-realization is the undoing of all that. So if you're saying, well, I'll study the teaching, I'll try to meditate, you can't really meditate, you study the teaching, but if the rest of your life and every other moment is completely emotionally convicted of this ideal that I can achieve this special me identity, and that's what the dream of life is. I'm going to achieve a special me identity. And some people who feel like, oh, maybe I can't do that, but I will achieve a special pleasurable me life. So they have a substitution, but it's all the same. You have to do something that other people recognize as special, otherwise it doesn't work. And that's why we have a whole culture of everybody playing that game. And there's more ways to get recognized than there ever was before.
Student of the week.
But didn't you ever think like, why am I such a whore for this? This is really gross. Why am I pushing myself forward on everybody else to be recognized? I want to be a rock star. I want to have the sex. I don't want to have to love a woman and have sex with her. I just want to have the sex and she gets to love me, but I don't have to love her because I'm famous. Are people going to love you because you're famous?
They don't.
No.
They don't.
No.
They don't.
Everybody knows that. It doesn't matter how many people play that game of pretending that they do or pretending it's true. Everybody knows the hobo on the train, the person on the computer, the mother with kids. Everybody knows that you don't get more loved. And nothing is required of you. No love is required from you for really good connections to others. Why isn't there all the TV shows about people being kind and good instead of manipulative? murderous, criminal, crazy, selfish. Why isn't it all about people being good and kind to each other? Why aren't all the shows an indication of how we really want to be related to each other?
That's the capability of the culture.
Yeah, because the culture is meditating on what you're meditating on. And what is that?
You're gonna get special somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and hurt everybody.
Get it,
in the
hurt
process.
everybody, and then get it.
Not
Yeah.
care.
So the TV, is it creating that selfish ego, personal self in you? Is TV creating that? Or TV is part of what everybody's doing?
TV is
Or
a,
the-
Yeah, you're creating
part
a
of it.
mind.
Yeah. Everybody's part of that whole mind.
Mhm.
Everybody's participating in those beliefs.
Mhm.
So you thought if you had an ideal that you could manipulate, strategize, give people perceptions you wanted them to have, and it all would work out towards something quite rewarding and wonderful for not only myself but for everybody. But they would recognize that I gave it to them, though.
Yeah.
That's how you've always been.
Yeah.
That's how I always experienced you.
Yeah.
You know, I never saw you doing anything remarkable.
Right. Yeah. That wasn't part of it.
That's way too hard.
That's part of the ideal.
I didn't get to that part.
Got left
Oh,
out.
that part.
I wasn't
oh,
smart enough for that part.
Forget it.
The only being that's worth recognizing is true self,
Yeah.
not all the little egos in the room. It's really unpleasant to love an ego because they don't want to love you.
No.
They just want to use your love. They don't want to have to love you. It's very unpleasant. But if you're loving the sacred as yourself and as everyone,
Yeah.
it's fine. There's no problem. You do what's necessary and needed. And that's it.
It's just
And you go back home and you love true self, which is yourself. So you don't go home and say, well, no one really loves me the way I want them to.
well,
Because the personal self isn't real and it's not giving you anything but a fake fantasy. There's no real love that manifests, no real happiness that's lived. So that's why you want to do it. Because it's the truth. The truth is bigger than your little judging egos. Doesn't matter if your little ego judges the truth and says the truth's not that good enough. I'll stick on with my ego life and ego trip. You're gonna suffer your ego life and ego trip every step of the way. And if it looks good today, well, wait till tomorrow. If it looks good at 20, wait till 65. Look at all the really pretty people. See them in their 20s. See them what they look like at 75.
Yeah.
If you were counting on beauty to be happiness,
Yeah.
look at it. Look at it, but you don't want to look at it. So somehow sun is something I have to give all the good stuff to get. What is it I'm getting? I don't quite get it.
I'm getting nothing.
Oh.
I'm getting nothing. That's supposed to be good.
Yeah. It's hard to describe. I mean, I'll try to find a way to describe it that's more inviting than that. But you pretty much cracked it. You will get nothing, you'll have nothing, and you'll be nothing. But I don't know why that's good. But it's still a lot better than what you got.
with all that something.
With all your something, nothing's still better. I don't know why. I guess it's just the most wonderful paradox there is.
There's just saying less is more.
Less and less and less is even better and better and better. Until you can't even find it anymore. Ooh. Here goes that ego. Happy is the day. It comes back to happy is the day. You are on a journey not to know, but to be undone. What a journey it is. Nothing to hold on to. All possessing slips away. The doer is undone. The knower can't know. And voila, the magic is accomplished. True being is recognized as one's very self, without separation from source. You are source being. So here you have this being said to you, shown to you. I wanted it. I knew I had a right to it, and I did what it took. But you're too busy with what?
I'm gonna get it otherwise.
Illusions of the ego
Yeah,
and its fulfillment.
fantasies. Yeah.
Its fantasies.
Not gonna go anywhere.
So you're unsatisfied in love, you're unsatisfied in recognition. Well, welcome to the whole fucking world. Everyone feels exactly the same way as you.
Join the club.
You know, Misery Loves Company Club? It's big.
It's worldwide.
Worldwide. And I imagine throughout all the cosmos, too. No, wherever you go, people are not satisfied in experience.
Worldwide
Bunch of
whiners.
entitled aliens.
Worldwide what?
Whiners. Instead of the World Wide Web. Worldwide
Well, I
whiners.
know, but see, you won't accept it. What does the divine have to do to show the divine to you? It's done it a million times, but it's like you're like this, your heart's all closed, your figure's all closed, all you experience is the clench. Doesn't matter. You have to unclench, and unclenching is ending the search. That this whole life is not about you getting fulfilled. It never was. That's the dream of the culture. That's the dream of the separate one. There is no separate one. The beliefs of the culture are not true. They're based on the separate one. Everyone just ages and dies. So where's the fulfillment of the separate one? Where is each ego going to have this happy fulfillment? Well, in religion, if you're a decent person, you get to go to heaven and find it there. But what is it like there? I don't know.
You need to see the Backstreet Boys perform. This is the
You get to
end.
see your mom and pop that died, or you know your sister that died when she was 3 or something. What is that going to do? You wasn't happy knowing them when you knew them.
It's the same. It's like crazy.
What are you going to do? You're going to sit down and play your guitar, and everybody's going to sit around. Oh, Barbara, that's so wonderful. Here's your A report card, and see all the handsome men lining up. They all want to adore you. Wouldn't that be nice? For like 5 minutes, and then it'd be kind of silly and stupid, wouldn't it? Everything's nice for like 5 minutes, and then it gets silly and stupid, doesn't it? What do you do after the 5 minutes, you know?
Leave.
Get out of there. Yeah.
Get out of there. Go back to like, I think I'll settle for nothing now. I've had all this.
Yeah.
Because anybody can be flattered and admired for a few minutes here and there in their lives. But, so what does that do?
Nothing.
Really nothing.
Nothing.
Doesn't do anything. Doesn't change it. Doesn't change you're gonna old and die. Doesn't change nothing. And anything can feel good. It can be a pleasure to be recognized. It can be a pleasure to eat chocolate cake. It could be pleasurable to have good sex. It could be pleasurable to see a beautiful sunset. But the sun goes down, the sex is over. People don't want to stay around and admire you all forever. And even if they do, you
They all
start,
go home.
they go home or you think they're crazy if they keep doing it. Like
This has been going
10
for,
minutes,
This has
yeah.
been going for 6 minutes. This is getting really
Yeah,
weird.
yeah. Okay, enough. So what do? Where are you always really at? Once you do have the good experiences.
Same.
Back there
Same,
again,
exactly.
same place.
It's a good thing they cannot continue those good experiences. Because you just get tired of them anyways. They're not going to deepen this, this high from experience. You can have sex for 10 hours and have an orgasm that lasts 5 hours. It's not going to deepen the pleasure, is it?
No.
There's only so much pleasure, and that's it, and it's over. There's so much physical pleasure, psychological pleasure, emotional pleasure, mental pleasure, and it's over. And if it keeps extending, then you're kind of like, when's this going to be over?
You need to get some sleep.
Enough already.
Yeah, enough already. So what is everybody looking for?
For it to be permanent.
Yeah.
Which
So
nothing
that's
is.
false, and that's ridiculous, and that's silly, right?
Yeah.
So when you got your paper and they said, Barbara, you did a good job, we give you A. That was fun for like 1 minute, right? And then it was
That was
like,
actually about 5 seconds, then I felt really silly. I
okay,
felt really silly.
yeah, but why?
Because all this energy went in and I got the envelope and I opened it, I went, and then I was like, this
Because the pleasure
really
of that is only how big in the scale of,
it's small.
yes.
It's just its tiny little thing.
That's the same thing like an
It's
orgasm.
like
You
a
go,
chocolate ice cream cone.
you work that hard to get there, you get there, and you go, oh, it's over.
We gotta go see now.
Yeah. It's like everything's like that.
Mhm.
It just lasts very.
It's brief.
Maybe the pleasure of everything is how long an orgasm lasts.
Mhm.
Maybe that's it.
Hmm.
Maybe having a pleasurable, acknowledgement, making more money, that everything just lasts so shortly and it's over and you're back to what? Normal again.
Dessert.
And so then you go, okay, I gotta start working at this again. Well, that's the cycles of rebirth. You keep working on it, so you keep getting reborn. But it's all the same thing. You've experienced all these things endless millions of times, millions of lives of doing that same cycle of repeating this to get that buzz. And then the buzz is always, there's nothing wrong with whatever, you find pleasure in, but it's over quick.
It's not just hanging your life on. Denying the existence of the divine in your life. Not giving any attention.
Well, if you're too busy with that, then it's worth it for you.
Right. But
People believe in
but
it.
you're not because you're sad.
Well, the thing, you've lived another context, but yet you're living like someone who doesn't have that context. And just being mopey and dopey like when you were 20 and your boyfriend kissed another girl or something. Being mopey and dopey. Mopey and dopey. A real spiritual aspirant who has that communion with God, with true being, they're not mopey and dopey and having bad days and being emotionally distraught and upset and sad and mad. They're not in those emotions anymore. Those have to do with experience. They have to do with believing that experience is here to fulfill you. If you don't believe that anymore, and you live with the divine as your consort, with the attention and regard to realize, you leave all that behind. None of that seems real anymore. That still seems real to you is because why?
Because I'm living like it's real.
Yeah, you're living like it's real.
Keep choosing it.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter if there's 50 million people in your backyard saying, it's real! Experience can fulfill you, does it? It's like your parents used to say, just because all your friends are going to jump off the bridge, you don't have to. Why? Because you have a right to enlightenment, if you want that right. You have it regardless if you use that right or not. But what is that right going to entail? That you have to stick up to the whole mind, the whole culture of the whole world and all its belief in the separate one and the separate one getting fulfilled in experience. You have to face that mind. Because it's not just your mind. It's everybody's mind.
Right.
And that's what you didn't want to face with your daughter, right? That's what you didn't want to face with other people, right? So you keep your love for me or your interest in enlightenment or your right to enlightenment hidden in a little pocket, in a little corner of your life where no one knows anything about it. If they get a little inkling of it, they don't really see your passion or love or your strength, your courage for enlightenment. What do they see?
Your little piece.
A little compromise going on
Yeah.
all the time. So how do you stand up to the whole world and say, I don't believe what you believe? How do you do that? When the whole world is believing this certain thing that's not true.
Don't give it any attention.
Yeah. So when everybody comes around you, the media, the people, and everybody, your relatives, whoever else, guy trying to sell you blankets, I don't know, anything, and any experience. This is a dream here, and when you're sleeping, it's another form of a dream. They're all trying to sell you what?
Shoddy
Bye,
illusion.
bye.
Illusion, sneak one.
By the illusion. Just because it's there, you don't have to buy it.
Right.
And if you don't buy it, you're not going to feel sad.
No.
So that's what the sadness is about.
Buying it.
Buying it. You're still buying it. You're still going like, oh, I can't do the practice. And I said this with Susan when she said, I'm the worst devotee. I really can't do the practice, blah, blah, blah. That really is saying, I don't want to do the practice. I'm committed to my seeking and being fulfilled by that. But somehow I do love you. I don't want you to leave my life. So this is the compromise I've made, where I'm fully committed to my seeking, my personal fulfillment. But somehow I still want you here. So I don't know what to do but to pretend that I'm a spiritual aspirant and stay committed to my seeking. So I will memorize the teachings. I will be able to repeat them back. I will read them. I will show this. I will talk about it. I will blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So he said, if I get good at taking Adida's exquisite teachings that are so beautiful, so profound, and somehow I can recite them or ask questions about them or interpret them, like I have knowledge of them, then I will look like I'm not a seeker, that I'm not committed to seeking. So I can do both. And somehow, because I'm doing that game with the teaching, somehow that game will end up making me profound in some way I don't understand, just by doing this and giving it some kind of attention. But your heart's not giving it attention. Your love is not giving it the attention. Your love is there for your seeking, your fulfillment. That's where your love is committed to. See, it's not committed to the divine. It's committed to your seeking. That's why you get so sad and disappointed. Because if you love something and it doesn't come through for you, it's very sad and disappointing. Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obvious.
If you love the divine, it's not going to be disappointing and sad, no. It won't fail you. Everything else will fail you, but it won't fail you. The circuit won't fail you. But, see, it has to be about you succeeding in getting what you want. So people have invented a spiritual path and a spiritual life where they get to succeed and win at the spiritual. And they can take the spiritual and create a very pleasurable, good life for themselves and be recognized and valued among their peers. So they invent that. People can use all sorts of forms for seeking. To get the buzz of experience, to get the feeling that not only am I a separate one, I'm a special separate one. And that's that's a secret to life. Everyone is a special separate one. That's the secret to life. That's the conventional wisdom. That's as high as it gets.
Yeah.
That's conventional wisdom that everybody's emotionally committed to because it's being fed constantly by all the minds of the world. This belief we're living in. And to realize true self as you are, you have to throw this belief out, completely out of your system. And you're not doing it. You're not throwing it out of your system. You're staying emotionally convicted of it. You prize it above the real wisdom. This is everybody's wisdom, that they are a separate one that is entitled to happiness and experience. This is wisdom of our culture. And everybody's completely, unconsciously, automatically committed to it.
Yeah.
It's not true wisdom. And if you really look at it, you see the illusion, it's an illusion. But you don't look at it. It's just you're in it, you're doing it, you're in it, you're doing it, you're in it, you're doing. And all the bad results, you never blame the initial belief at all.
Right.
You never go back and say, this belief that we're all separate and as separate entities, we're all entitled to a fulfillment experience. I think that's wrong. I don't think that's true. No one ever looks at it and says, it's wrong, it's not true except for Adida. So, you're not looking at it. You know the right answers,
Yeah.
Right.
but you don't look at it. Because you're in love with your separate existence, trying to get fulfilled in experience. That's your first love. You don't have any room for any other love. When you see other people seeking, do they have room for you?
No.
No. That's their first love. When they're really going after the buzz of experience and being special in experience, they don't have room to know that, oh, you need some help carrying that bag, or you're thirsty. You know, they don't have room. And that's why everyone feels so disconnected from everybody, because nobody has any room to see and serve each other. Because everybody's so busy with trying to figure out and win at the conventional wisdom that I'm separate and I'm entitled to feel special. You don't feel special being separate. You feel alone and isolated.
In the
Yeah.
pods.
In the pod.
Everybody's in the pods dreaming of life. You understand?
Yeah.
So why, even though after I give you these great inspirational help and support, you go back to what?
The commitment to
Loving it.
Zen,
Loving
second
Yeah.
one.
You have to get mad at it. You have to say, that got me nothing. Like an old boyfriend that's just cheated on you, you just get mad and you walk out. So don't get sad, get
Man.
mad.
Yeah.
But when you don't feel fulfilled and you're frustrated in how to get fulfilled, what do you feel? Sad and depressed.
Yeah. So you really believe you're
Bypassing
entitled
whose
to it.
fault it is.
Mm-hmm.
What assumption was made, not asking what I've been up to, not being honest about it. Can't let a lot of time go by before you ask questions.
Remember being in your 20s and you thought you're going to go out there and maybe get famous or recognized or be special or get a special love or you'd be special for being talented at something. Remember all that? You
Yeah.
really believed
Big
that,
picture.
you know, well, that's the culture.
Yeah.
Is giving you that idea that each one of you somehow is going to manifest that destiny. And it's your job to go try to get that. But what happened over the years?
It was just you can
The
catch
basic
yourself
idea is
doing it.
never seen
Yeah.
and tossed
Yeah.
out.
No.
Yeah.
So you haven't tossed it out of your system yet. You're still, and you're protecting it. You're not saying, I gotta throw this belief out of my system because it's destroying me. It's destroying my capacity to love. It's destroying my capacity to love and value truth. To live the Dharma. To live enlightenment. It's destroying me. It's not just like, there's enlightenment over here, and that's doing nothing, and it's just a mistake, so now come over to enlightenment. It's destroying you. That's what you saw, Pat. It was destroying you, wasn't
Yeah.
it? So you're not seeing that you're suffering, that it's actually destroying you. This idea is destroying everybody. Everybody's sanity, everybody's ability to be here and care for each other and give each other what we need. It's destroying all of that, this separate idea and this separate life of being fulfilled and recognized and experienced. It's creating insanity and craziness in people. And it has created that in each one of you.
Yeah.
Because you're never willing to throw out the belief. But as you more and more try to be a special one and get fulfilling experience, the more and more you feel like there's nothing special about you. The more and more your own life feels meaningless to you, and what you feel and what you do feels untouched and meaningless, and nobody cares and all that.
Part of the destruction.
Yeah, it's all self-destructive. So that belief is causing all that self-destruction. It's not a harmless, benign belief. It's causing all that self-destruction, and that's what, when you see it, like a bad boyfriend who beats you, and you walk away, there's immediate relief, immediate sense of freedom, immediate sense of sanity is returned. But you're not seeing it like a bad boyfriend that's just beating you up. No, you feel loyal to it.
So why give it all that power? It doesn't really define who you are,
That's because you believe in it still, though.
Yeah.
That's why it has power.
Yeah.
You give
It's
it-
like you have a bad boyfriend, but you won't leave him, and everybody's telling you should leave him. He's bad, and you won't. And he has all the say and all the power of what you can think and do, and what you can eat, and when you can sleep, and how much money you can have. He controls everything of your life, and he's selfish and mean. And that's like you've been hypnotized into this very self-destructive belief system, and is causing all sorts of destruction to the world, to others, to the environment, and yet everyone defends it as the ultimate wisdom of our time.
The truth.
The truth.
Necessity, yeah.
Yeah.
Necessary truth. That's how.
Try harder, it'll get better.
So you bought it,
Yeah.
hook, line, and sinker,
Mm-hmm.
and you were suffering that self-destruction
All the time.
all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That knows what that's like. Anybody else suffer that self-destruction?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Think of the worst times you suffered it.
Just doing it
And
to yourself.
mostly, you
Yeah.
get some space from it because I'm always pulling you out of it.
Right. Right.
If you go and be around people you have known, see what their suffering is. See that self-destructive suffering that they have. See it. You know, when your relatives come to visit, see it. Nobody's free of it. Everybody believes in it, and it's a bad belief, and it's causing the self-destruction of the world. It's causing the self-destruction of the culture, the sanity of the culture, our ability to care for each other. It's causing it. It's even more pronounced now that everybody should get famous.
Mhm.
Even the next generation, the younger generation, is believing everybody should get famous for something, and that's happiness. You know, the more wealth and the more fame you have, the more you will be fulfilled. You will be happy. You will have achieved that form of enlightenment. But it's only self-destruction. It isn't enlightenment. It isn't happiness. It isn't truth. It's self-destruction. This is where you are. This is where we're at as a culture. It's very, very sad, and it's terrible, and a terrible time to live. Even with all the conveniences and the distractions, pleasurable distractions, and this is what you got. The thing is, the whole world does not throw off this belief for you to be free. All you have to do is you throw it out. And if you're awake and you live in a world that's like this, then you do the best you can to serve others towards the truth, towards the right, to enlightenment. The last right that has never been acknowledged, that is still completely subjugated to the ego and suppressed and oppressed with great and mighty means, is your enlightenment.
Yes.
That's
true.
the last frontier and the only real frontier and the only real truth. Your enlightenment
That's so true.
is put off to achieve this separate one of personal happiness that the culture is somehow supposed to help you with, give it to you, give you permission or encourage you or what. And everybody's in competition with each other for that. So no one can actually be related to each other.
Yeah.
Because everybody's your competition for it. Because not everybody gets it, so you're competing here. But if we're here truly the way we really are here, without that bad belief, everybody gets to be loved and related to, and everybody gets what they need, and everybody's helped along. But we have to throw that belief out of the system for that to happen. Okay?
Yes.